Peace to the family, love and light. It's your brother, all right? I'm the Amanashi, also known as Omni Omnis. Make sure to hit the YouTube. That's www.youtube.com/The Nature God, Omni Amanashi. That's spelled The Nature God, TheNatureGodOmniAMUNASE. All right, that'll get you to my YouTube. And if you didn't remember that, it's going to be in the link. And I'm going to post the link to this video. So be sure to check out the links in the video. All right. I also have Facebook, of course, which is www.facebook.com/OmniOmnis. That's capital OMNIS, capital OMNIS. All right. And then we have the Instagram, which is www.instagram.com/Omni with a lowercase OMNIS underscore lowercase OMNIS. All right. And all of these, like I said, will be tagged to the video. All right. But I'm going to give the family a little bit of time to get in the building. Be sure to hit the Cash App too, family, to show more support for more Black educational content. All right. We're doing this research and we're getting this information to the people, and it's for the people and it's by the people. All right. So most definitely want to support Black business. Okay. Shout out to Omnis Nature 360. All right. Which is a plant-based herbal store. All right. That I run, that I manage. And, one of our main products that we deal with is the golden sea moss, all right? Like I said, the Jamaican sorrel, all right? And the moringa, all right? So we got different plant-based substances that we're trying to promote and bring to the people. Considering I am an independent researcher of natural sciences, right? And we cover Black news, okay? Black politics, and things that's concerning to the Black community, all right? And so that's what we're doing. We teaching it, and we being about it because we're making tangible things and promoting this stuff out here to the family. So love and light to everybody who has supported the business. Okay, Ashe, welcome to the building. And like I said, today's topic is about the origins of religion. The origins of religion, family. All right? Black people are very religious. Okay? We're the most religious group of people on the planet. Say that again. Black people are the most religious group of individuals on this planet. All right? We know the language of some good old church music, some good old tithes and offering, and we praying, and and I get it, we searching for enlightenment, for spiritual advancement, and we want to grow and develop. But I don't know if this is the way, family. Slaves were Christians as well, and during slavery, there are plenty of times that our ancestors cried out to Jesus and cried out to this biblical God. Peace and blessings. Ashe. James Bunch in the building. Could. Peace. Plenty of times that Black people have been in bad situations and called upon the name of Jesus, okay? And the name of the biblical God. And in return, things stayed the same, family, all right? So we're just looking at the basic 1, 2, 3. Like I said, tonight's topic is the origins of religion. Where did religion come from? What is it? Okay. Religion, to me, if I would sum it up, is a system, is a spiritual system. All right. And the only thing about it is religion is not original spirituality. Okay. It's not an original spiritual system. And we're going to prove that tonight. Now, we know that dealing with religion, you have your main three religions in monotheism, which is Christianity, Judaism, right? And mono is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all right? Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Those are the spiritual belief systems that make up monotheism. Mono meaning the belief of one God, all right? Now we see when we look in nature, when we look in the universe, with natural observation, it takes a male and a female, a man and a woman in creation family. To create our offspring, it takes a man and a woman, a male and a female. But this monotheistic concept, or this mono God, there is no female. There is no other person. It's just one entity that's responsible for all creation. All right. Now, the Oxford Dictionary definition is monotheism is the doctrine or belief that there's only one God. All right. So we went over it. That's Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. All right. And then we got polytheism. So this is the difference when it comes to religion. Polytheism is dealing with belief systems like Kemetism, Buddhism, Hinduism, all right? Taoism. One of them is Egyptian, one of them is Indian, and the other one is Asian, all right? So those are all polytheistic belief systems. Polytheistic means the belief of more than one God, all right? The Oxford Dictionary definition is the belief in or worship of more than one God, all right? And so the thing about monotheism versus polytheism is that the more ancient prehistoric systems are polytheistic and the more modernized systems are monotheistic. Okay, so that's something that you want to take a look at, family. Why is that? I'm going to go into the definition of colonialism because this is a political thing, religion. Okay, colonialism is the practice or policy or of control by one people or power over the people or areas, often by establishing colonies and generally with the aim of economic dominance. Okay, that's what white supremacy is, economic dominance. In the process of colonization, colonizers may impose their religion, language, economics, and other cultural practices. All right. And this is the Wikipedia.org definition for colonialism. It's a common encyclopedia. All right. You can go up there and do your research. Okay. Now, another thing that I noticed is in this concept of religion dealing with spirituality, the Bible takes place on the continental land, okay, the continental landmass of Africa, all right? Israel is a land that is located not too far from Egypt, northeast of Egypt, all right? Now, Israel, love and light, MGE Mellon, could it could, peace. Welcome to the building, family, all right? Now, I was just talking about how in religion you have people to not acknowledge or, try to discredit the origins of the biblical text, okay? Considering the fact that the Bible takes place almost entirely on the continent of Africa. One of the main sceneries in the Bible is Israel, okay? Israel is very close to Egypt, all right? Even though it's considered to be a different nation, all right? They're like neighboring states, okay? It's not even that far apart. Matter of fact, I know the distance. What is it? Let me see. Yeah, so it's wild, family. So Egypt is 613 kilometers from Israel. Okay, 613 kilometers from Israel. That's 380 miles. All right. Now, a distance that's close to that would be like South Carolina to Florida. That's 437 miles. So that's a little bit more than that, but it's not that far, family. My point is, how is Israel northeast of Egypt, okay, and considered to be a separate nation? And when people think about the Bible and the biblical text, we're not realizing that the origins of the book is coming from Africa, family. Africa is a country with Africa is a continent with 54 countries, all right? And Israel is just one of its countries. Egypt is just one of its countries. It's a very large landmass, okay? And this land is so important, family, because it is the core of the planet Earth. This is where the magnetic core resides, all right? This is why Africa is the #1 producer of resources in the world. This is why Africa has continuously been infiltrated and invaded throughout history, family, all right? Because it is the leading producer of resources due to the fact that it is rooted to the magnetic core of the earth, to the very heart of the planet. This is why all the energy is being generated, all right? So Africa is a very abundant place when it comes to resources. So for this reason, historically, Africa has continuously been invaded, all right? Africa was invaded by we had the Arab invasion. I think it was around like 30 AD. We had the Greek invasion with Alexander the Great around 332 BC. All right. We had the invasion of the Hyksos in Egypt by the Greeks. All right. And so Egypt has continuously been the target of invasion, family. All right. And just like in the street, you're not looking for the man that ain't got it. You're looking for the man that got it. If you're gonna make it worth your time. If you're gonna go lurking, you feel me? So anyway, we gotta understand the origins of the Bible, family, that Egypt has deep roots, okay, in all modern religion, because it all traces back. All right, but we're going to continue to read, family. Okay, so like I said, polytheism is the belief of more than one God. Kemetism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism are all polytheistic systems that predate Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. So they didn't believe in one God. They believed in a natural God, all right? More than one God. There's nothing in creation where you can see there's one thing, all right? You can see, when you see there's polarity to nature, there's duality, okay? There's never just one of anything, okay? For every apple, there's other apples. There's other apple trees, okay? Okay, so we got to understand this too, family. When it comes to tracing the origins of the Bible, understanding the chronology of culture and writing systems, certain texts that came about at certain times, family, all right? So the most ancient form of text known, okay, is the hieroglyphica, all right? And the hieroglyphica, also known as the meta-neter, is a pictogram. And a pictogram is a pictorial symbol or a pictorial symbol for a word or a phrase, all right? It is a pictorial symbol for a word or a phrase. That's what a pictogram or a hieroglyphic is, all right? Pictograms were used as the earliest known form of writing, all right? Now, examples having been discovered in Egypt and Mesopotamia from before 3000 BCE, all right? And that's from Oxford Dictionary for references, okay? A pictoriogram is a hieroglyphic, all right? So understand that even though we read the modern day King James Bible, all right, there were other Bibles that derived from earlier cultures, all right, chronologically. So we had the King James Bible in the 1600s, right? We had the Torah in 1312 BCE, right? We had the Talmud in 1224 BCE, which is the Jewish Bible, the Torah, which is the Greek the Hebrew Bible, all right? And then we have the Mayan Popol Vuh, which is an indigenous Bible, all right? And then we have the Egyptian Book of the Dead and the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are much older, like 3200 BCE for the Dead Sea Scrolls and about 3600 BCE for the Egyptian Book of the Dead, all right? So anyway, they have very familiar concepts in these ancient books to the Bible. So it's very familiar concepts, but the source is different, all right? And there's some things that's changed around in the Bible. So anyway, a logogram, right, is a written language. A logogram is a logograph, a written character that represents a word or morpheme, like Chinese characters. All right? I don't know if you guys ever seen the Chinese characters in Kung Fu flicks, Kung Fu movies, right? Well, they kind of drawing like symbols. You feel me? They call those what Hanzi in Mandarin, Kanji in Japanese, Hanja in Korean. And those are just some different forms of writing that use hieroglyphics. All right. So this is an ancient writing system. We're trying to trace the chronology of the Bible based on culture. All right. Who touched that Bible last? And who had it before then and who had it before then? All right. So what we see is that the Sumerian cuneiform script, like I said, is about 3200 BCE, all right? That's about 1200 years before the Torah, all right? And the cuneiform script is a form of cursive and hieroglyphic writing. And now this is native to the Phoenician people or the Semitics, which were around the Mediterranean area, okay? So these were people of African descent, all right? And they had the Sumerian cuneiform script. They also had, like I said, the book coming forth by day, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. That's around, like I said, 3600 BCE, something like that. Then they had the Dead Sea Scrolls, had the Epic of Gilgamesh. That's around 2500 BCE, all right? Now, my point is, okay, if the Bible takes place on the land, on the continent of Africa, all right? If the Bible takes place on Africa and in Africa, okay, amongst African people, then why isn't the Bible being told from the African lens? All right? The Bible is published most commonly in Greek, which is the Torah, which is Hebrew, all right? And Aramaic, which is the Tanakh. So you got the Greeks touching the story of the African people, and then you have the Arabs touching the story of the African people. So that's the thing, family. You got to understand the chronology of what has taken place in history, all right? And so, like I said, if the Bible takes place on that land, peace and blessings, Queen, love and light, Ashe, welcome to the building. All right. We building about religion, okay? And we want to know the origins. And so you know how we get down with the Get Down family, all right? So, understanding these different writing systems, right? We have parent systems. Like I said, the latest version is the King James Bible. That's 1600 AD. You had the Latin Vulgate Bible around 382 BCE. That's when they had the Council of Nicaea in 325 BCE. Or 325, yeah, I think, 325 BCE, if I'm not mistaken, family, all right? So these were events where the Roman Catholic Church came together with other priests, European priests, right, to rearrange these ancient scripts and hieroglyphics, all right? Like I said, the Romans touched it, the Arabs touched it, and the Greeks touched the African story. But we don't have the African story being told from the African people, all right? So that's a problem. We want to get it straight from the horse's mouth, straight from the source, family. All right. Because at the end of the day, when you're religious, and you have a faith, you investing into this. You know what I'm saying? You put your whole life is invested, and your belief is founded in these things. All right. So if we're going to invest that much into what we believe, then we want to make sure that we're making the right the right decisions, family. All right. And it's okay to make mistakes, because I've been through, different phases of consciousness. Like, I haven't always been at the level that I'm at right now. I was Christian. I was Hebrew for a little bit. You feel me? Because I didn't know it. As I continue to learn, I continue to elevate and open my mind and expand my mind to the possibilities of the truth. And I only subscribe to consistencies. When I see inconsistencies, that's a red flag. That's an error, family. All right. So that's how we do it. I'm an independent researcher. I don't depend on just regurgitation from other researchers. Okay. So we're going to get back to the bill, family. All right. Now, tracing the origins of the Bible, what most ancient texts have in common, like I said, is the writing style. Over time, as new cultures are developed, new writing systems are developed chronologically, okay? Now, in the main biblical and cultural texts, like I said, we have Phoenician, we have Arabic, Greek, and Latin, okay? Africa, Greece, Rome, and Spain, family, okay? Now, like I said, we had a few invasions that took place in Egypt. But before we get to that, let's consider one of the latter invasions. All right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Christian Crusades, but if you consider yourself a Christian, then you should research the Christian Crusades, family. All right? This is a series of military wars that was imposed on indigenous peoples, okay, around the 11th century, okay? Love and light, Queen. Thanks a lot. Peace and blessings. We're going to roll with it and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? The people rocking with me, and I appreciate y'all for that. And we come to build, family, so y'all already know what it is. All right? So look, don't forget about the Christian Crusades, family. All right? These was a series of military wars that was imposed on indigenous peoples during the 11th century, all right? All the way up until the 15th and 16th century, all right? So these military expeditions were organized by Western organizations, okay? And it was in response to the Muslim rule and expansion, okay? Trying to take over the people in the Middle East, trying to take control over their resources, and trying to regulate these people politically, all right? Forcing people that was already there on their land with their own religion, okay? So the Christian Crusades, you would think that they was going around saving people, praying for people, you know what I'm saying? When you go to church, you go to a crusade, that's what they do. But the real crusades, they was crucifying niggas. You know what I'm saying? Doing niggas real dirty, putting niggas on the stake and everything. Word, putting flame to niggas. So now we can't forget that, all right? So, like I said, we had a series of invasions, family, military conquests, political agendas, okay, historically. So, and one of the most infamous is the story of Alexander the Great, who was a Greek. He was a homosexual Greek, all right? One of them crazy white boys. And they pretty much like vandalized Google is like a worldwide international library. That's what Alexandria of Egypt was back in their time. All right. This was a library of science and history, okay? This library was vandalized by the Greeks as they invaded Egypt, all right, around 332 BCE. And they have a lot of the artifacts from these invasions in the British Museum family. So if you look up the British Museum, you see a lot of ancient African artifacts still there today that is held and regulated by Europeans. Okay, these artifacts is not of European culture, but they were obtained through colonization. So they feel like they own it because they colonized the land. All right. So all this stuff got something to do with the Bible. Okay. Just rock with me for 1 second. All right. So the Hyksos, like I said, they invaded Egypt around 1570 BCE. And that was around the time that Akhenaten ruled. And he was a pharaoh from, if I'm not mistaken, the 14th dynasty. All right. And they say that this pharaoh from Egypt at that point in time is responsible for the concept of monotheism, making one God, saying that the sun god is the only God or something like that. But Egypt already had the sun god before Akhenaten, so that don't even really make sense. But anyway, they say that he's the one who's responsible for the concept of monotheism. Then now we got all these new monotheistic religions: Christianity, Judaism, Islam. So that's coming from the invasions of the Hyksos during the 1500s. Okay, during the time the rule of Akhenaten. Okay, and now they trying to pretty much make it seem like Egypt or Egyptians is responsible for this type of philosophy, family. But when we look out in nature, like I said, we have different manifestations that are directly from the source energy. Like we had Ra, the sun god. We had Hathor, which is the goddess of the galaxy. And we had Neb, we had Geb, and different goddesses and gods. Okay, so they were a polytheistic people. All right. And so, like I said, considering the origins of the Bible being from African origins, then we have to consider the cultural influences of Africa. All right. Now, papyrus is first known to have been used in Egypt. All right. As far back as the first dynasty. We got to understand that the Dead Sea Scrolls, which was found in the Qumran caves, all right, in Egypt, all right. The papyrus is one of the more older techniques or forms of writing on paper, all right. And the papyrus is a plant that's native to Nile Valley, all right, which is right there in Egypt. So when they talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls being associated with the Tanakh and these monotheistic religions, which have nothing to do with the ancient pre-existing religions, then they really reaching because that plant species is native to Egypt, not Rome, not Greeks, okay, not in Arabia, okay. So that's one thing that you got to consider, the basic 1, 2, 3 facts, family. They trying to give a credit to the Tanakh, all right, which is 1224 BCE, and the Torah, which is only 1312 BCE, and they trying to say that the Dead Sea Scrolls was written by Hebrews. Come on, man, cut it out, family. We already know we already know that ain't adding up. So we're gonna keep it pushing, all right? Now, people who talk about Egyptology, they see that I got Egyptian, tattoos on my body and whatnot. And, they'll say, oh, brother, you an Egyptologist. Understand, family. Egyptology is a study of the Egyptian culture from the Western lens, okay? It's a practice that's began around the 1800s, after Emancipation Proclamation, around that time of the Emancipation Proclamation. It was going back and forth to Egypt, tomb raiding, stealing, okay, and robbing people that was already going to glory, family. That's already in the sarcophagus, okay? Research your boy, what's his name? He's a British. He was a thief, really, but he was a British explorer, all right? And he goes by the name of Curtis. It's not Curtis. Something Bonaparte. I forgot his name. Something Bonaparte, but look that up though, family. This guy he was leading these expeditions in Egyptology, and they was blowing the noses off the statues once they seen they was people of African descent, all right? Because they wanted to hide the identity of the greatness of these people and the greatness of their civilization, all right? So Egyptology, got to understand that is not the study of a Kemetic person, all right? So I'm Kemetic, so I study the ancient civilization of Egypt. Egyptology is Western people going into Africa in the 1800s and giving their little 2 cents on what Egypt is about. But understand, family, that Egypt was already there before the Egyptologists came. Before they came to study, those structures were already there. Those statues was already there. Those tombs was already there. So I don't study Egyptology, family. Don't think that's what this is leading to, all right? I'm just trying to show you guys that Egypt has a very strong, prominent influence on the origins of the Bible, okay? Even the crook and the flail, family, which is one of my tattoos. I don't know if you guys can see it. You know what I'm saying? The crook and the flail. One of them is for the feminine and the other one is for the masculine. It's a passage in Psalms. So even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. For thy rod and thy staff comforts me, right? So you see that passage is read in the Bible, but we see that the crook and the flail is in the sarcophagus of every Egyptian ruler and pharaoh, all right? So they say it in the Bible, but then we see the tangible evidence when we research the Egyptian culture, all right? The crook and the flail is the rod and the staff that is mentioned in the book of Psalms, okay? So just wanted to point that fun fact out, family. So we got to understand the influence that Africa has had on the Bible, but we're not associating Africa, you know, with the origins. Not really. They consider like Israel to be like a whole separate place, and it's nothing but like the distance from Alabama to Florida. That's the distance, but they're considered to be different countries, and we live in America. Alabama to Florida, that's still in one country. But in Africa, they got that distance right there separated between 2 different countries. Like, it's a very small distance. So that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? How they making it seem like Israel is so separate from Egypt or separate from Africa, and it's not. So, and another thing, if you're going to live in Africa, you got to have melanin, family. Love and light. I shade the elder, Alex Button. Peace. Blessings, family. Thanks for rocking with me. We rolling, man. Yeah, so if you're going to be in Africa, you got to have melanin. We talking about the tropics. We talking about where we got radiation coming from the sky and radiation coming from the magnetic core from the ground. This is one of the most tropical places on the planet. You can't live in Africa without being melanated. There's a such thing as melanoma skin cancer, okay? Melanoma skin cancer kills about 3 million people per year, according to Mayo Clinic, okay? 3 million people per year die from melanoma skin cancer in the U.S., family, all right? So you got to understand the science of what these people are saying. Jesus could not have been fair-skinned. He would have to be a melanated person, an African, on African lands. Okay, don't forget Israel, Bethlehem, all of those the river of Jordan, all of that, Mount Sinai, where Moses supposed to have been at. That's in Egypt, man. Cut it out. Straight like that. And Egypt has a very well preserved culture. All right? We talking about people who lived during the time of Jesus, who have real tombs, all right? We talking about statues and much cultural evidence that was left behind, family. I mean, they made sure that we seen and that we their message had to get across. They made sure that they got their message across. They left it right there for us to see it and discover it. All right. And I like how the ancient people write in hieroglyphics, because they normally will write in stone. And when you write in stone, that's a form of writing that there is no revisory. You can't revise something that's written in stone and try to scratch that out or go over that. It's written. It's written finally. It's a finale, family. It's nothing that you can do once it's written. So I like that. So like I said, Egyptology is not Kemetism. Kemetism is studying Egypt from the African lens, and Egyptology is studying Egypt from the European lens. And we know that the Europeans colonized many indigenous black peoples. Okay. All right. So religion, the etymology of religion, family, in the sense of life under monastic vows, all right? In Old French or from Latin, religio, all right? Meaning obligation, bond, reverence, perhaps based on Latin, which is religare, okay? Which means to bind. So religion means to bind, all right? The etymology of the word religio in religiere or religare means to bind, all right? So in Exodus, it says right here, family, go to a passage from out the Bible so you can see what I'm talking about. They say Exodus, chapter 20, first verse, says, out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. All right. So the Hebrews, when I deal with them a lot, family, they always say, brother, Egypt is the house of bondage. You know what I'm saying? They enslaved Israelites. This, that, and the third. All right. So there's no proof of slavery in Egypt, but that's what the Bible said. But the Bible is telling us what happened in Africa from a group of Greeks, which is the same people that waged war against the Egyptian people. So I don't know if that's too credible, family. All right. But they said that Egypt is supposed to be the house of bondage and that we enslaved people, but we the ones that got robbed though. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But listen, it says, I am the Lord thy God, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So this is one of the reasons why the Hebrews, which they're studying the Bible from the Greek lens, this is why they think that Egyptians are bad, because the Bible says it. And like I said, those are the same people who invaded Egypt. All right. So the Hebrew word for Egypt stems from the Akkadian word mitzru, okay, meaning a border, like a border, likely because it was an important border kingdom. All right, right there on the Mediterranean. And it does not itself mean bondage at all, as bondage is in English terms for slavery or servitude, which is a different word in Hebrew. All right. So we know, like I said, Africa is one of the world's 7 known continents. Africa is the largest inhabited land on earth. All right. Africa is the number one producer of natural resources. Africa is the number one producer of natural resources. All right. Israel is located on the continent of Africa. Just going over a few fun facts of things that were stated. Egypt is a part of Africa. Sumer and Mesopotamia, which is accredited to the Babylonians. These people used the cuneiform script. They were African Semitics, okay, also known as Phoenicians, okay. They used the cuneiform script, and they're from Africa, all right. So anytime they try to go back to some type of ancient text, is always going back to Mesopotamia, going back to Egypt, going back to ancient Nubia, all right. So we know that, like I said, Goshen, which is Lower Egypt, is where Moses was born in the Bible. The city of Goshen. All right, that's Lower Egypt, family. Mount Sinai is where Moses wrote the 10 Commandments in the Bible. And like I said, Egypt is Ham in the Bible, which is Mitzrayim. Okay? And Canaan, South Levant, which is modern Israel, Gaza, Jordan, and southern portions of Syria and Lebanon. Okay? So, with all of the things that we talked about, family, what do y'all think about that? Is y'all feeling like the Bible is accurate? The Bible has never been tampered with? The Bible is the absolute word of God, okay? How many people believe that? When we see that even the image of Jesus, or you want to call him Yahweh, is the image of the colonists, all right? A European, which is a person who is not native to African lands. Okay, he couldn't have been born in Bethlehem if he wasn't of African descent, family. Okay, the image of Jesus is in the image of the colonizer. All right? So I know black people feel like religion is the easiest way to go, and you can just pray and get your way out of things. But it don't work like that, family. The universe responds to actions, to what you do. When you do something, something happens. All right? That's how it is. And there's a certain level of accountability, family, that comes with new levels of consciousness and new levels of spirituality. Okay? You have to be accountable. Okay? And know that the universe, or the Most High, who whatever name you want to call it, has given you all that you need to thrive. Okay? The universe has given you a sense of intelligence, family. Okay, we have eyes to see. We have ears to hear. We have minds to think. Okay, let me say that again. We have eyes to see. We have ears to hear. We have minds to think, family. All right? So those are natural things that the universe gave us to be able to interpret and process information. All right? So don't be afraid of your own mind. Don't be afraid of asking questions, because those are things that goes against your natural intelligence, family. And they may not want you to think. And peace and blessings. Latanya Royal, Ashe, love and light, queen. Blessing. Well, yeah, they might not, they don't want indigenous people to function and have the same the same power that we had in ancient times, because we were an advanced culture. That's proven. The people on the hieroglyphics are melanated. They're melanated people of African descent. You got brothers with locks, sisters with like fox locks and different, you know what I'm saying, like cornrow braids. I seen a brother with 360 waves on the hieroglyphic. You know what I'm saying? So these people are people of African descent. Egyptians are black people. All right? And they were a very advanced people. And like I said, the colonizer does not want us to restore that ancient advancement, that ancient power, family. But that's what we're going to do. So I just wanted y'all to see the role that Egypt has played in the past, just briefly, and some of the invasions that Egypt had to deal with, right? And how their texts date back to the oldest texts. All right? And they have the most preserved history. They saying that Jesus, Paul, John, Peter, all these guys, Joseph, all of that, those names are not really African names, family. Those are European names. So just basic 1, 2, 3, nobody that lived 2,000 years ago, all right, living on the continent of Africa, in African culture, amongst African people, had the name Peter, Paul, John, Jesus, okay? Jesus is really a new name for the Latin name Zeus, okay? The letter J wasn't invented until the 16th century, all right? So we know that. And that's just basic 1, 2, 3. Y'all already know that that's conscious. But for the people that don't, Jesus is a new name for the Most High family, all right? It's a new name. So when you say Jesus, that's not the name that people use not 100 years ago, but that's not the name that people use 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? People use different names for the Most High. And the Hebrews like to say Yeshua. You know what I'm saying? But all people are just referring to the universal forces, family, all right? To nature, all right? Now, let me see. How long have we been on? I don't even know. But I'm about to, like I said, one more thing I wanted to go over before I roll out. Because I know this Friday night and people got things to do, all right? But listen, where we at? Now, like I said, the Phoenician culture is a culture that predated Greece and Arabic, all right? Predates the Greeks and the Arabics, all right? And these are people whose writing system, who created the first alphabet, all right? They're credited for writing the first alphabet, okay? So this is a very ancient civilization, the people from the Mediterranean, all right? The Phoenician culture originated in the eastern Mediterranean region of the Levant, all right? Southern Syria, Lebanon, and northern Israel, okay? In the 2nd millennium BCE. Although the area has been settled since the Neolithic period, the Phoenicians founded the coastal city-states of Babylon, Sidon, and Tyre, which is ancient Canaan, all right? And like I said, the Greek alphabet did come from the Phoenician. It says right here, in Britannica.com, which is a reference for people who need references, all right? Where did the Greek alphabet come from? The Greek alphabet is a writing system that was developed in Greece. Remember, the Greek alphabet is associated with the Torah, all right? And the Torah is the Old Testament. We read in the King James, which is the New Testament. But if you go back to the Oldest Testament, that'll be the Torah. And that's in Greek, family. So I just had to put emphasis on that, all right? It's in Greek. And it was developed about 100 BCE, okay? The Greek alphabet was developed about 1000 BCE, my bad. 1000 BCE, family. Okay? And it is the direct or indirect ancestor of all modern European alphabets. You heard that? It is the direct or indirect ancestor of all modern European alphabets. It was derived from the Northern Semitic alphabet via of the Phoenicians. Okay? That's in Britannica.com. Okay? So Old Hebrew script is derived directly from Phoenician, and Chris contends, which is a theologian, that what is called Paleo-Hebrew, Old Hebrew script, did not split off from its Phoenician predecessor until the 9th century BCE. The Hebrew language, better called Canaanite, since it existed well before then, is the oldest surviving. Okay? I think that was from Phoenicia.org. All right? Phoenicia.org. Now, let me see. Most specialists believe, right, that the Phoenician alphabet was adopted from Greek. Because when you do your research, that's where it traces back to, family. All right? During the 8th century BCE, perhaps in Euboea. All right? The earliest known fragmentary Greek inscriptions date from this time 770 to 750 BCE, all right? And they match Phoenician letter forms of C 800 through BCE 800 through 750 BCE. All right, that's from Wikipedia.org. Wikipedia.org, family. All right. So the term Phoenician is an axiom from ancient Greek that most likely describe a dye, right? Also known as Tyrian purple. And we know purple is what? Dark pigmented. All right. The term Phoenician is an exonym from ancient Greek that most likely describe a dye, also known as Tyrian purple, which is a dark pigment. So it's a phrase that's used to refer to dark pigment. All right, Phoenician is a major export of Canaanite port towns. So it is a natural resource of the Egyptian people. All right. Major exports of Canaanite port towns. Phoenician civilizations was organized in the city-states similar to those of ancient Greece, of which the most notable were Tyre, Sidon, and Byblos. All right. So like I said, Phoenician is the oldest accredited family. Well, it's not accredited, but if you go back and do your research, you'll see that these people did exist prior to the Greeks, prior to the Arabs. And my thing with theologians is that they're not accrediting the African influences, the African contributions, family. It's like I said in the beginning of the video, that's my main thing, that the world's religions are biting from Egypt, biting from indigenous black people, and not giving us the inside scoop, or even just allowing us to see, the chronology of how religion developed, and that our ancestors were very powerful and very spiritual people, and more advanced than people of today, family. All right. So anyway, I guess I've made my point. I'm not gonna hold y'all for too long. Like I said, we on a Friday, and I know people got things to do. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Brother LaMail in the building. Thanks for channeling in, family. Love and light. I shade. Hopefully we could try to link up and get something going soon, family. I love to build with you. All right. So love and light to all the people who came in the building. Like I said, we had to build about religion right quick and the origins of the Bible. And like I said, we ain't gonna let up off them Greeks, and we ain't gonna let up off them Arabs. Now, we know we had the transatlantic slave trade, and we had the Arab slave trade. And they both of those events put black people in bondage historically. We ain't talking about no Bible. We talking about the truth, what we know happened for sure. So based on what we've covered tonight, we see that the people of African descent and of the land of Africa and the people of Africa and the African culture has a lot of influence on the Bible. It is the template for modern religion, family. All right. So don't forget that the indigenous cultures, right, produced the template for this revised religion, this modern spirituality that is not original. Okay. So I love you guys. I'm not going to hold you. Like I said, I'm going to get on up out of here. I really could do this all night. But make sure y'all hit up the Cash App. Make sure y'all hit up the links. All right. I got links in this video that'll take you straight to my social medias, take you straight to my YouTube. I got over 70 videos, family. All right. Building on educational content. Okay. That is for black people. All right. Independent research. Quality time that I put into this, family, just for you. All right. So you ain't got to waste as much time because I already put in the bid for you. All right. So when you can, be sure to make sure you support more black educational content with generous donations that help keep me flowing and keep doing more things for you guys. All right. So I appreciate you. Love and light. I'm gonna get up out of here. Peace and blessings. I see you.